We are in Mexico. No, we are in Bangkok, Thailand. Sawadee Cup, Sawadee Ton Chow, everybody. Yeah, we are in Bangkok, home of some earthquakes. There has been more earthquakes. There have been earthquakes in Thailand before. Many, actually. And I still remember some of them. I think it was the one in 2019 and maybe, is it 2011? Let me see here. Let's see here. Because I had a list of the places. Here it is right here. They go all the way back to 460 AD. But in the last 50 years, there have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 earthquakes that affected Thailand. The biggest being this most recent one that happened on Friday. And then after that, it was Yunnan on the Myanmar-Chinese border. It was 7.6 and 7.2. Now, there have been more earthquakes in Myanmar since Friday. There have been aftershocks, and there have also been, I don't know what differentiates aftershocks from an actual earthquake, but I read they had a 5.4 just yesterday. So it's still going on here, and there is still some danger. Hello, Dale. How you doing? Let me give you my Y. There is quite a bit of danger here. And I know this. I try not to focus on it, to be honest, because, I mean, to me it was not really that big of a deal until I saw the aftermath. Where I was, hey, Bruce, where I was, which was sitting inside the mall, when I saw everything, it was really like, oh, I guess I should probably go outside now because everybody else is leaving. It's probably a good idea to get out of the mall. And, I didn't think the earthquake was that big. I got outside and I thought, I shouldn't stand next to the building. But for me, it wasn't that big. For me, it wasn't anything really, I wasn't really all that scared. But now, when I see the aftermath, I'm like, maybe I should have been a little more worried. And my wife, I got to tell you, my wife is, well, she's not going back to her office anytime soon because she's on the 20th floor and she just feels like it's unsafe. And I thought she might be swayed. I thought maybe she'd just go, oh, okay, let's go. No, what she said to me was, let's go to Surat. Let's go down to the south. It's safer down there. I said, I don't know if it's really safer down there, but okay, from an earthquake, it's probably safer. I said, I don't mind. Let's go. We look for tickets. Everything is sold out till after Songkran. We can't even go for Songkran. I look on the airline tickets. It's like 5,000 baht for a round-trip ticket, and we got 5 people going. So 25,000 baht just to go down there and come back. I'm like, I don't want to pay that. I don't need to go down there that bad. I mean, I can go afterwards. It's fine. She's like, yeah, we'll see. So maybe we'll find something. I said, do you want to take a bus or a van? Oh, no. Dangerous. I don't want to take a van down there. I said, okay. Now, supposedly, she's going to go into her office when she absolutely has to. But the rest of the time, she just plans on working from home, which she can do. And she can go to the hotel. She has to go to the hotels. I'm like, you got to go to the hotels. Sometimes you're going to be meeting with them. You're not going to meet on the first floor sometimes. You're going to have a meeting, and they're going to go, let's go up to our conference room, which is on the 6th floor or whatever. So, this is a way of life here, and there are many people feel like it's still dangerous and the worst is yet to come. And she told me about a lady, I can't remember her name, I have it written down, maybe in my phone. This lady who has predicted many things. Now, I don't usually believe in this stuff, but she showed me the clip where the lady is going, next year, and she stated the month and everything, there's going to be an earthquake. And she's like, it's going to be bad. I'm like, wow. She goes, she's predicted that in June or July there's going to be flooding in Bangkok. She's like, we need to buy a boat. And I'm like, what kind of boat do you want, honey? Thank you very much, Richard. How you doing? Be glad you're not here for the time being. But, you know, she's like, we got to buy a boat. There's going to be flooding. I said, well, we can always just go down to Sorotani once we know that there's going to be flooding. I mean, it's not going to happen like generally, it's not going to happen in like 2 minutes and we have no time to get out. Usually you have a couple of days. So we could just go, all right, let's get out of here. But it might not be that easy. So she's like, maybe we should get a rubber boat or something with a little motor. This is the life that I live here. You know, I don't have any worries other than, you know, what I hear from other people. And I think it was Jerry Seinfeld who was saying, don't worry about what other people say. Don't worry about how they are giving you a hard time, or they don't like you, or they don't like what you do. Don't worry about that. Just focus on what you want to do. Well, if I focused on what I want to do, I'd be like, I'm fine where I am right now. I don't really need any. I don't need a boat. I don't need anything. But, you know, when you got a wife chirping in your ear all the time about how we need a boat. Oh, she was swayed on Friday, believe me. She was up on the 20th floor, and she said she was running down the stairs to get out. I said, yeah, but you get out and you're standing right next to the building. You need to get away from the building, out into an open space, and even then the ground can open up and swallow you up. Jono, I did talk to him. I've talked to him several times, and he said to me, I had to stop every once in a while because I was getting so tired running down the stairs. He goes, you know, I got a bad knee. I'm old. He's like, I go down, and every 5 floors or so, I had to stop and catch my breath. And he said, he was telling himself, if I get out of here, I promise I'm not doing anything wrong. And my wife said to me today, I'm going to make sure I buy a bottle of white wine today, or I find a couple of bottles of good white wine. For some reason, she wants white wine. We usually drink red wine, but sometimes we drink white wine. Now she has this hankering for white wine. She said to me, I want some white wine because I want to enjoy my life while I'm still alive. If you worry about the people who will be displaced with all those buildings are inspected. Yes, to inspect all the buildings. Yes, to inspect them. I think many people will go back to their village, making Bangkok a ghost town. What did she tell me? Oh, she went to Chinatown yesterday. She wanted to take the kids to Chinatown to go out and have something to eat and to get some things that she needed there. And then she was going to go to a temple on the way back. She said Chinatown was empty. There was almost nobody there. Well, when you think about it, what about all the people in hospitals? You know, and I said to her, oh, your building's new. It's earthquake proof. You should be okay. You know, she goes, no, my building is not new. It's renovated. And I went, oh, well, you might want to get out pretty quick then. So that's why she was running down the stairs. Now, if you don't know, I am Scott. I'm an American, and I've been living here for 30 years, a long time. Sometimes I think too long. Sometimes I think, what am I doing here? I got to get out of here. Then I start thinking, that means I got to travel and go places. It means I got to hassle going through the airports and stuff. So I don't like going anywhere now unless I have a real reason to go there. Like Ecuador, I would go there. Portugal, I would go there. There are certain places I would go. Other places I don't want to go there. I just don't have any desire to go. I just don't want to. I don't want to do that. So that's, that's just the way it goes. Now, after the recent earthquake in Myanmar, Thailand has also felt significant tremors, raising the concerns about structural damage. And let me tell you, I've been watching the Thai news. There is a lot of structural damage. In the aftermath, numerous buildings in Bangkok and other regions have sustained cracks, posing potential danger. I saw a condo where, they have the pillars where you park your car, and the pillar on the corner was completely cracked up, and you could see, it was like the concrete had fallen off, and it was just a little bit of the pillar was holding up that part of the carport and the apartments over top. And then there were some other ones that were cracked also. So this really leads me to think about a lot of things. And, although they say authorities are investigating the safety of all of these structures, I think a lot of people are still on edge here because they know if there's an aftershock, that might be all it takes. And then the building you may not even see the cracks. And it comes down and you're inside of it. Listen, what I think is, if the whole mall came down on top of me, say goodbye. I'm done. If you're up top and you're, 20 floors up, 30 floors up, you're done. Unless you can get down and get out. But you're done. That's it. So, and I was thinking about it. The buildings are very vulnerable now. And whether you think it is or not, that fault line, the Sagang fault line in Myanmar, it runs all the way up to the Tibetan Plateau and all the way down into the ocean. I don't know what body of water it is. Maybe it's the Indian Ocean. Well, supposedly the buildings are earthquake-proof after 2007. That doesn't mean that it won't cause any damage or won't shake people and the people won't be, they won't be scared. If you look, I didn't have the footage, but if you look, you can find it. There's footage of somebody up on top of the roof of a hotel, or I think it's a hotel or a condo or something. And the water is just, it's going out of the pool and splashing way up, and she's going, holy shit. It was really, really bad. And then you see, in some of the footage, you can see the water splashing over the side of these big high-rises. So there's a lot to consider, and really, when you think about it, it's like, well, we just got to keep on living. We're not in Myanmar, okay? But this area is earthquake-prone. That's what my point is. With that fault line, we're at risk here. China is at risk. Myanmar's at risk. Even India's at risk. Bangladesh. And the smell of death right now permeates the air in Myanmar. I hate to say that, but that's the truth, because you have the heat and you have all the debris, and the heat is extreme. It's very, very hot, very humid. It's more humid than here. I can tell you that now. In fact, when Mr. Billy and I went to Myanmar, he said, man, this humidity is a killer. It's much worse than in Thailand. So those people are trapped. They can't go anywhere. Some of them are dying, and they're decomposing. So right now, there's over 1,700 dead. Some places are saying over 2,000 dead. as many as 10,000, even more, can be expected at the end. And it may take them weeks, months to find everybody. And over 3,400 more people are injured. The destruction in Sagaing and Mandalay is immense. And, you know, I went to Mandalay, I don't know, a couple of years ago. And I really had a good time there. I really liked it. It was a great little town, you know, like I was like, wow, it was fascinating to me. And so to see this, and, you know, I've already spoke to Nanda, you know, my guide, my fixer, my friend in Myanmar. I've spoke to him. Him and his family are okay. But he did say there's a lot of devastation. It's not a good thing. And the thing is that the junta is still bombing the opposition, even though they've agreed to a ceasefire. So this is not helping. And then the rescue efforts are slowed by the limited resources, again, the extreme heat, and the bodies there are decomposing rapidly. There's urgent need for as much aid as possible. And, you know, everybody thinks about Thailand. We're talking about Thailand here. But it's Thailand, it's China. All these places. Thailand is absolutely, you know, a bad thing, what happened. It's definitely bad. It's you know, destructive. You could describe it any way you want. But in Myanmar, it's just devastating, man. It has devastated. And the thing is if the fault line went through more big cities, there would be a lot more devastation. But Myanmar is very spread out. There's a lot of people in places where foreigners don't even go. You know, I've been to some places where foreigners don't go. I've been to one, two, maybe 3 places. Well, 4. If you count Miak U, which is up in northern Myanmar. Not many people go there. I didn't see any foreigners when I was there. It was all Burmese. And so it's very spread out. Now, if it was more congested and there were more cities close to that fault line, that place there would be 100,000 people dead, easy. Now, I got to bring up a different subject. This is just something that kind of irks me a little bit, just like it irked me a few years ago when somebody did this, but on a different subject. There have been some YouTubers that have been going to the collapsed building after the earthquake that took place, so they can create content. And you know, I've done a few things. You know, I've gone to Hong Kong, but I had a media pass. You know, I was credentialed. Everything that I've done, gone to the Olympics, you know, gone to northern Myanmar to photograph the Rohingya Muslims. All of these things, I had credentials. I was supposed to be there. You're allowed to be there, even though they don't want you there. Like in Myanmar, they didn't want me there. But some of these creators are just filming the destruction just so they can get views. And I don't think anybody could ever say to me that, you know, I'm like somebody who goes out and creates a lot of content just for views. But this is kind of you're talking about death, man. You're talking about people who, they don't care about you filming them. To me, it's just disgusting. It's exploitive, just for the views, just for money, just for engagement. And if I really wanted to do it, I'd be there right now. I don't want to do it, and I don't want to. I'm done with being a journalist. And I know some people might say, oh, well, you were a journalist? Yes, I was a journalist for like 12 years. And then I was a photographer also, and I continued that. And I'm not in it anymore. After going to Hong Kong, that was enough. That was my last hurrah. I don't need to do a bunch of other things like that. Why? I don't need to, right? I got the money. I got the money to live comfortably. I'm okay. I don't have to do it. Even my father said to me after I went to Hong Kong, he said, "Why did you go there?" I said, "Because I could. I was credentialed. I wanted to be there. I wanted to see what happened. I wanted to cover it." And I did. And he goes, "Well, you got out of there. And that's what's important." I was like, yeah, I got out of there. It wasn't that dangerous in my opinion, but, you know, other people might view it a little bit differently. But the point is, if you're going there with a camera, and you're not like with a news organization, why are you going there? Don't even think about going there. It's exploitive and stupid, and you should have some respect. And this is you know, I think about it all the time, and I'm not perfect. I'm not going to say that I'm perfect when it comes to this kind of stuff. But what I will say is, do you really want to highlight the darker side of life? Do you really want to just concentrate on that and go to somewhere where people are dying? I mean, listen, my wife showed me something today from in Thailand at the building. They had this guy, he was all the way up to his neck covered up, but he could breathe. And they started digging him out. They were using the jaws of death. He had a huge boulder like right over him. And they dug him out up to about down to his chest. And then that was the last that I saw of it. And I thought, wow. But that was the news. They were bringing that to you because that's what they do. You could say legacy media, you could say whatever. I'm not really concentrating on that. I'm not trying to bash any news organization, because a lot of times the people who are involved are trying to do a good job. That's all they're trying to do. But that was horrible. Now, another thing that I want to talk about a little bit is the latest wave of YouTubers, and this just pisses me off. This is what really pisses me off. I'm sure there's not that many people going to the site and filming it, and, you know, those people who are, they know who they are. But what really irritates me is the YouTubers claiming that they've been deported from Thailand when really they just didn't follow immigration rules. And I'm not trying to be a hard ass, but if you're coming here on a visa exemption and then you extend. So these are the people freaking out because they want to bring the visa exemption from 60 days down to 30, and then you can extend for 30 days. So you can stay for 60 days instead of 90 days. Well, what they want to do is stay for 90 days, go out for a day or a couple of days, then come back into Thailand, get back into Thailand, stay for another 60 to 90 days, go back out of the country, come back, go back, and I've heard this cry about how they're being deported for years. And I talked about the guy who used to come on my channel. And I was like, well, why don't you get a retirement visa? You're old enough. Get a retirement visa. I don't want to do that. Well, if you don't want to do it, then you're not going to be allowed in the country. It's that simple. Their rules, their country, if you don't follow them, get out. It's that simple. I'm not a stickler for this kind of stuff. But when it comes to this, where you're like complaining because they're deporting you, which they're not really even deporting you. A lot of times they give you 7 days and they go, you got to get out by then, or you're not going to be allowed to come back in again. And they put it in your passport. This person cannot come back into Thailand again for whatever it is. Maybe it's a year, maybe it's 6 months. Usually you can come into Thailand for a period of about 6 months, and then you have to be out for 6 months. It's you know, that not all immigration officers apply the law the same way. So, you take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, because some people may just let you come in, and you might come in and come in and come in, and you might stay for 2-3 years. But what about all the people that are legitimately on elite visas, DTV visas, long-term visas, retirement visas, marriage visas, where they are allowed to stay? What about all those people? Oh, well, I don't want to do that, so I'll just come in on a visa exemption and not do anything. No. To me, it's like, listen, you come in, you do one stint. They let you in for a second stint. And on the second stint, they tell you, hey, after this, you can't come back. We won't let you in the country for another 6 months. You need to get out. And I believe strongly in that. Now, a lot has changed over the years, but yet people still think they can come and live here for year on year on year, year end on year end. They think they can come here and just live here. Then get the proper friggin' visa. That's all you have to do. It's not that difficult. And if you don't have the money, figure out a way. Go to an agent. Do whatever you got to do. And the people under 50, those are the ones who have the harder time. And I understand it. But, listen, things were different when I was here in the beginning. It was much different. And I was surprised at 50, somebody's like, get yourself a retirement visa. You have the money. I said, oh, okay. I guess I will. And it's been really easy after that. So, we're going to talk about those things. Now, the exchange rate, 33.92. If you remember, what I was told and what I read was that 36 is the number by the end of the month. Now, that's not going to happen, but it was at 34 a few days ago. So, hopefully it stays above that. The AQI, the air quality, 142. Temperature in Celsius, 27. High at 32, low at 26, and the feel-like temperature is 28. In Fahrenheit, temperature is 80 degrees, high at 90 degrees, low of 78, and 82 is the feel-like temperature. Humidity is 86%, and it is cloudy with a 65% chance of rain today. It's already rained this morning. It's been drizzling all morning, and 50 to 70% for the rest of this week. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Well, yeah, I retired from the fire department young, had the pension, the whole bit, too young for me. I had no other options at the time than visa runs. It sucked. Yeah, I've done visa runs. I've been on a tourist visa that was good for 15 months. I've been on a media visa when I was working as a journalist. I've had a marriage visa. I've had a retirement visa. I've done just about everything. Now, I hesitated getting something like an elite visa because I go, what if I don't make it? What if I don't make it 10 years? I kind of wasted my money. But I guess when it comes down to it, maybe that's a good option. So I think about that. What is this? I'm still returning in August. A stinking earthquake is going to, I think you mean no stinking earthquake is going to stop me. Well, it's a little bit more than just a stinking earthquake. Well, Firedude, I agree with you. I think they are underplaying everything because, first of all, it affects tourism. This affects tourism. Tourists don't want to come to a place if they're worried about the sky falling on top of them. Hey, Andy, don't buy green bananas. Don't worry, I don't. We always have bananas in our house, and they're never, like green. They're always yellow with maybe a hint of green, and like 1 or 2 days, boom. That's it. The sick of the reporting and renewing. What's FIFO? I don't know what FIFO means. Do I get sick of the report? What do I get sick about? Why do I have to get sick? About what? Because I have to do something once every 90 days, or because I got to do my visa, my extension once a year, and it takes me about 3 hours, and that's it? It didn't bother me. I don't know what FIFO is, though. Fly in, fly out. Oh, fly in, fly out. So you wait a minute. Working visa report. I don't understand about that. You're saying you have a working, you use the visa exemption system. Well, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, are you working? Are you not working? I don't know. Lots of internal damage. Yeah. And people think that this is a minor thing. And, it might be. In some places, it's not a big deal. Some guy in Hua Hin, I didn't feel anything. Okay, good. Good for you. And, out in Isan, they're probably not experiencing very much damage. First of all, it didn't go spread out like this from Myanmar. It came kind of like down in a column. So and also there's not as many high rises. There's 3, 4 stories, maybe 5 stories tall, and that's about it. Now imagine you're near that. It's 33 stories. Imagine you're next to that. You don't want to be there. All right, so let's get into this here a little bit. Now, the reason that Bangkok really felt a lot of the impact is because of the soil. The soil is very soft here, and so it caused a lot more shake than there might have been somewhere else. Many buildings in Bangkok, Chiang Mai, and other parts of Thailand have sustained cracks and structural weaknesses, and some are at risk of collapse. And let me tell you something. I am not going on the BTS. I am not going down in the MRT for quite some time. I'm not going to go up there because I look at it. I don't even like being underneath the overpass. I mean, you're in an overpass and you're on a motorcycle, or you're in a taxi, and the overpass collapses down on you. That happened in Chiang Rai. Right on top of a car. Swayed like a tree, made horrible structural noises. Longest 19 floors to the street by the fire stairs. Yeah, I feel you, man. And I'm telling you, Jono told me, he goes, oh, well, my landlord told me to take pictures of any cracks that I see. And I said, well, that's great. You can do that. I understand that. But they need to have inspectors come out and look at the building. And then he's got several buildings around him. And I'm like, maybe his building didn't crack, but maybe other buildings will crack. And then they can fall on top of his building. And let me tell you something. I do not want to be in his apartment if that fucking place goes, because he's on, like the 29th floor, and he's on a corner. So, I mean, listen, it doesn't matter where you are. You got no place to go. You're on the 30th floor or something. You just don't have any place to go. Listen, I bet you the condo prices aren't going to change at all, because the owners are like, I don't care, they got to pay. That's kind of how they think. Some people don't want to go back to their condos, to their buildings. I asked John about that. He goes, well, do I need, he asked them, do I need to get a hotel? They're like, no, you can go back. I don't know. I don't know what the real answer is, because I live in a house, and our house is 2 stories. If our house fell down, I might get injured, but I probably wouldn't die. Okay? Yeah, the construction site, my wife is like, oh, that construction site was made by the Chinese. That's why it's so bad. I'm like, I hate to tell you, honey, but it's not just that it's Chinese. That may have something to do with it. But it was not completed. And so that could have had something to do with it as well. It was under construction. There are things they probably had there that were not safe, even if there was no earthquake. Supposedly, the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration, BMA, has received over 9,500 reports of building damage, and at least 700 buildings need immediate inspection. So there you go there. 700 buildings. I mean, you know, the thing is we always want to know why it is. Why? Tell me why it happened. Oh, because of the endemic corruption. It's not just because of corruption. It's because of when the land underneath you, the earth underneath you is moving, and it's moving in mass. So you're not talking about it's moving, you know, centimeters. It's moving. Well, you're going to move too. I was thinking about that. You're sitting here, and if the plate shifts over 3 feet, and, you know, it's far away, well, it's not going to be as much as if you were right there, but by the time it gets to you, you're still moving. You're still going to feel it. Crazy. Well, I understand it. And that is one reason, let me tell you something. I have never, ever lived in a place higher than about the 3rd floor. Ever. I had a nice, really nice place. It was on the 2nd, no, it was actually on the 4th floor. So that was the highest I've ever been. 4th floor. Very nice, wonderful place. You know, you can blame it on corruption. You can blame it on, oh, it's poor build, it's this, it's that. The materials are cheap. It's probably all of them. It's not just one thing usually. And this is the thing. What we want is, give me an answer. Why did it happen? It happened because it's a natural disaster. My wife said she was on the canal boat coming home. She got off of the boat because the water was receding so much where the canal boat was going along. She got off. She goes, I didn't think it was safe. She goes, we're rocking back and forth, and I'm just going, I got to get out of here. So she got out, which is probably a good move. But now I think about it, all right, you go on a bus, you're going to go under an overpass, right? You're in the water. Who knows what'll happen? Maybe. If you're on the SkyTrain, forget about it. Forget about it. In the SkyTrain, forget about it. I don't want to live in a high-rise. Older buildings and those that weren't built to handle the seismic activity are at the highest risk. If you live in a high-rise or older structure, you need to be aware of the potential risk. And I think some people are just like, okay, I'll go back in. Yeah, whatever. What am I supposed to do? Yeah, what are you supposed to do? Move? Most people cannot afford to move on the spur of the moment. They got it. Okay, well, I'm going to need to make sure that I get next month's paycheck, and I'm going to have to find a place, and oh, I have to find a place that's not high up. You know, it's not usually easy. What about the BTS and MRT? Getting to that. Supposedly, they have been checked already. Now, I did see a guy saying, oh, they've been suspended. Tomorrow they're suspended, but they weren't suspended. It was bullshit. I don't know if the guy was looking for views or what he was doing, but it wasn't true. Okay? Supposedly, they've already been checked out. They've already been given the go-ahead. They had the Prime Minister ride on the BTS. I'm going to ride on the BTS, and I'll show you all. Everything is okay. Well, just because you rode and nothing happened doesn't mean everything's okay. You know, again, it's like anecdotal evidence. She's doing it. Okay, well, right now, nothing happened. But maybe in 10 minutes, she rode again, and it might be the end. You can go at any time, but if there is structural damage, you know, any little aftershock could bring down the SkyTrain or screw up the MRT. Think about your underground and all the earth above you falls down onto the train. The train's not going to hold it up. It's going to collapse like a tin can. And I'd rather not be 50 feet up in the air on a little concrete rail just because I got to go somewhere. Guess what? I don't have to go anywhere if I don't want. I can walk to the grocery store. And I mean, there is something to say about this in certain times. Because, you know, it's nice to be able to go wherever you want. You know, I want to go down south to Surat. Well, there's no transportation methods. We could drive down there. If we really wanted, we could go down there. We could take a taxi or something like that. We don't want to do that. So what options does that leave us? Unicycle? You know, these aftershocks can continue, and another major quake in this region, especially immediately after. And I mean immediately in the next week or two. It can definitely happen. What was that? What was that here? Train. Train. No, there's no tickets. There are absolutely no tickets. It's sold out. You go to the website, sold out. You go to 1-2-Go, sold out. You go to what is it? Bao Lao or Bao Lay or whatever it is, Vietnam. Sold out. Everything's sold out. Now, if we wanted to fly, we could go, but it's going to be expensive. It's going to be double the price of what it usually is. And I'm not paying that. I don't care. I'm cheap like that. I don't need to go there that bad. I mean, I want to go, but you know what? If I wait until the week after Songkran is over, I can go for 2,500 baht or 2,000 baht. They're running. I came here, I saw the yellow line go by. They were running back and forth. There's no problem. They're running, man. Yes, they are running. They are running, yes. Remain operational. They are operational. So what does that tell you? I mean, this is from the Public Relations Department of the Thai government. So, what are you talking about, 2 routes? There's a lot more routes than that, man. I mean, I don't know, how many lines are there? No, there's, let's see here. Well, I know there's Sukhumvit and Siloam. Jesus Christ, I can't get a straight answer. Let me see here. Nah, this isn't telling me the right thing. It's saying 2 lines, but I know there's a lot more than 2 lines. This is saying 3 lines. It's ridiculous. Hang on a second. Let's see here. Purple, blue, yellow, pink. gold, green, dark green, and then you have the airport rail link, which is the city link. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus the airport link. And they're all running. All right, let me see here. There have been reports of walls cracking in high-rise condominiums, office buildings, and even schools. This is in Bangkok. Hey there, TkyoSam. Some residents have been advised to evacuate until further inspections can be completed. And you know what? Thank you, Sam. The problem is they don't always know when the inspections are going to take place, or they're going to take place and it's going to take time. And the people don't have time. Now, if you're working in an office, they can move the office somewhere, I guess. It may not be, Thailand may not be on a major fault line, but it's definitely not immune to seismic activity. And I think this particular earthquake has proved this, but so have the other ones. Now, yeah, I'm fine. If you're in any affected area, you really should, I mean, you should inspect the building yourself, and you need to report any cracks or signs of weaknesses, because, you know, you're just sending people out to look, and maybe they don't catch everything. They can't possibly catch everything in 1 or 2 days or 3 days. They just can't. The government will be conducting further inspections, but it's up to residents to stay alert and proactive about their safety. Now, 77 aftershocks have been reported between 2.4 and 7.1 since 1:20 p.m. yesterday. 1:20 is the time that the earthquake happened on Friday, 1:20 p.m. 4.1 aftershock felt in Wyanghua district in Mae Hong Son. So it's not over yet. I'm not trying to fear monger or anything like that, but I would say, you know, be careful of where you are. And I mean, like, I'm in the mall right now, but I'm just like, okay, I probably have a few minutes. If we're hit with an earthquake, I have a few minutes to get outside and get away from things. If I'm at home, okay, go out in the middle of the street or whatever. Get under a door frame or a table. Yeah, well, that's true. They are comfortable to walk around in, though. Now, some place that we have not been talking about where things have happened is China. And there were significant repercussions in China, particularly in the Yunnan province, in the border of Rili. I went to Huili, but this is Rili, and I tried to see, are they the same place? No, they're not. 2 individuals sustained injuries and 9 others were rescued after being trapped in an elevator. The quake damaged approximately 847 homes, affecting around 2,840 residents. Tremors were also felt in the provinces Guizhou, Guangxi, and Sichuan. Despite the widespread shaking, Chinese authorities have reported no fatalities among their citizens. Okay, well, you know, I'm a little slow to believe Myanmar and China, and even Thailand. I'm a little slow to believe things. You have to get me on board here, because, you know, I think in Thailand it's going to affect the tourism. I think it's already affecting the tourism, and it's going to affect the tourism in the future. Chinese government has responded by dispatching rescue teams and medical supplies to assist in Myanmar's relief efforts, and given the potential for aftershocks, Residents in all affected areas are advised to remain vigilant and follow guidance from local authorities. I don't know if I'm going to follow any guidance from local authorities here. But I will, for certain, I will remain vigilant, because you just never know. So my thing is, if you're here, how are you preparing? Do you need to prepare? If you live in a high-rise, Jono, or you work in a high-rise, my wife, you need to know your emergency exits. You should always know your emergency exits, because if you've followed this channel a while, I was in a fire here in Thailand, in Bangkok, not far from here, about 30 minutes from here, and the building, the whole building was smoking. There was a fire on, I think it was on the 3rd floor. We were on the 4th floor. I tried to go down the 3rd floor with my son. He was a baby. He was 2 years old at the time. That was Alex. My wife was pregnant, or he was like a year and a half old, and she was pregnant. And I was carrying him, and I covered his face up, and I said, just, come with me. Come here, don't worry, I got you. We get to this one spot in the hallway on the 3rd floor, and the smoke just started coming, like, just straight at me. And I went, we need to get out of here. And so I ran, got out of there, went back up to the 4th floor, because I thought, I don't want to get stuck on the 3rd or the 2nd floor with my kid, and we can't breathe, because he's not going to know what's going on. And so I went back up, and then, they couldn't bring anything to us. They didn't do anything, and we're out there for, half an hour. Finally, they give us a rope, and nobody wanted to take the rope, and I go, well, I'll take it. Give me the rope, and we tied it off and everything. Everybody's like holding it and tying it, and the thing snapped. Splat. I went splat on the concrete from 14 meters up, and I was in the hospital for about a month, and I was in a coma for, how long was I in it? For 4 days. I was in a coma. It's been a long time now, so I'm starting to forget it, but I had all kinds of broken bones and injuries. When I woke up, I looked at my back, my whole back was just purple. So I know about this stuff, and that was only from the 4th floor. I was lucky I didn't die. Now, if you're on the 20th, 30th, 40th floor, oh, I'm going to go up to Bayok Tower now. No way. I've been there many times. I don't need to go back. I don't need to go have their little, I don't need to go to Mahanakorn Tower. I don't need to do that. I've done that twice now. I don't have to do it. I don't have to go up high. Well, there was no rest of the family. It was my wife, who was pregnant with Nicholas, and it was me and Alex. So I fell. I went down, crack. They're trying to pick me up and take me to a hospital. What they did was they got about 25 people standing around with their arms open like this, and they dropped Alex. And they caught him. So we were lucky at that. Then they brought up a painting scaffold, and people had to drop down onto this painting scaffold. It was not steady. And then they had to carry them down from the scaffold. It was just a nightmare. Then my wife went, she goes, where did you take my husband? And somebody stole my Omega watch. I always have to slip that in there. I had an Omega watch, James Bond Omega watch. It was a couple of grand when I bought it. I put it on layaway, bought it, and the thing popped off my wrist. And somebody grabbed it, and they didn't give it back. So I lost my Omega watch, and that's the way it goes. At least I lived. Yeah, you know what, Andy? I tell that to my kids all the time. I say, put your keys, your wallet, and anything else that you might need always in the same place. In your room, you put it on a dresser. It's always on that dresser. When you go out, you put it in your pockets. Like you put to me, you put your keys in your left pocket. You put your wallet either in your back pocket or your front pocket. I have a small wallet, so I try to put it in my front pocket because I don't want anybody trying to pickpocket me from the back. All right, so let's go here. Oh yeah. In addition to knowing your emergency exits, you should keep an emergency kit, an earthquake emergency kit, and stay informed about the building inspections. And I would, if I lived in a high-rise now, or I lived in anything over like 3 or 4 stories high, even 3 stories, check for cracks, man. Inspect that building. Go over it with a fine-tooth comb. And you know, the thing is you may not see them. And you just might be shit out of luck. So this is, you know, I mean, listen, there are no guarantees in life, and your life can end at any time. And when my wife said that to me, I'm going to go get some white wine today because I want to enjoy my life while I'm still alive. And I thought, that's the attitude you got to have. And I have that attitude every day, pretty much. I'm like, I'm going to enjoy my day. I'm going to do whatever I want because I don't know how much longer I'm going to be around. All right, so that's the earthquake situation. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the YouTubers crying about their deportation. Their supposed deportation. You know, I see YouTubers all the time, and I've seen a few in recent weeks, in like the last week. They're crying about being deported from Thailand. Now, I told the story, and I tell it, and I say it quite often. There was a guy, he used to come in here all the time, and I would argue with him today that he was an idiot. Unless he didn't have any other way to do anything, well then, okay, just admit it. I mean, you know, maybe he didn't want to admit it. Maybe he was too proud. You know, I don't have the money. Okay, well, then you got to find another way. So then the focus turns to how can I stay here long term without having to pay the kind of money that they want? What can you do? Apparently, he didn't want to do anything because he said, I'm here on a tourist visa, and it's for 60 days, and then I get a 30-day extension. And he kept getting them, and they kept giving them to him. And finally, one day they said to him, you can't live here, you cannot stay here on a tourist visa. Tourists usually stay for 2 to 3 weeks, maybe a month. In a rare occasion, you stay for longer. Yes, you can, well, we're not talking about the U.S. That's a different situation. We're talking about Thailand. And, you know, there's a big difference. Because the rules are what they are. And listen, if they did it to me, I would say, okay, I got to find another way. Right? I mean, yeah, you should have a bug-out bag. Everybody should have a bug-out bag, but most people don't. I have a bug-out bag sitting right next to me, right next to my desk. Nobody can see it, only me, I know. And all I have to do is grab my computer and my cord, throw it in there, and I have everything I need. And I've told my wife this. I want to be able to live like I got a little camera, or I got just a phone. I got my laptop, and I got some clothes and some food, and that's all I need. I got money. You got to have money. You need to have money. You know, whether it's you have 1,000 baht, 10,000 baht, 100,000 baht, whatever you want to put in there. There you go. It's not easy putting together a bug out bag. And, a lot of stuff you don't really need. I mean, do I really need a camera? No, probably not. So a phone will do pretty good. It's not going to take, fantastic photos that you can, make art prints out of, but most people are not trying to do that. Yeah, well, some people, I know they're going to move, but like I said, it may take a bit of time to find a place. I mean, I know Jono doesn't want to move. He doesn't want to move. I understand that. He's very comfortable where he is. He's set. What does he have to move for? Now, getting back to the YouTubers. I saw this guy and he's like, oh, I came to Thailand and I was here in Thailand for, like a month and a half, 2 months. And I didn't extend, but I left the country. And then I came back. Now, he didn't talk about the times that he had been to Thailand before this. He said he came back and they told him, hey, buddy, you're out of here. You can't come back in. You've already been here numerous times. And he was pissed off. They put him in the detention center. They made him buy his ticket, and he had to fly back home. So he flew back home, and then he flew back to Thailand. Again. And he got in. And I'm like, why would you do that? I understand. Everybody wants to live in Thailand. Oh, not everybody. I mean, really. Everybody doesn't want to live in Thailand. The reason I live here now is because I have a family, because I'm settled, because it's comfortable, because I'm relaxed here. And speaking of relaxing, let me tell you something I did yesterday. And I'm going to put a video up about this. I went to a spa yesterday. A very charming little spa. It's called the Milrick Wellness for Body and Mind. And I went there and we got our feet cleaned and massaged. And then I had a massage. That was fantastic. And then my wife went in and she had this thing called the Vietnamese head massage, which was, they had this rack that has water shooting out of it. And they bring it over your head so that the water keeps hitting all of your head. Very cool. I didn't want to do it because I got no hair. But she did it. And she loved it. So, that was pretty cool. But that's talking about relaxing. I went in there and I thought, I hope this is good, I left and I went, I'm so relaxed right now. And I was like, you want to go get something to eat? And she's like, well, we could eat next door. So we went to this place, the Olive Restaurant, which was nice. And then we got a taxi and we went home. And then they went to Chinatown. So that's what I did. Now, getting back to the whole, that was my relaxing day yesterday, sorry. No, it's not water torture. It's just the water shoots at your head. It's not real hard. It's hard enough to where you can feel it, and it kind of gives you like a head massage. And then you're getting a head massage with fingers, and they're washing your hair and doing that kind of stuff. But I went, I got no hair. I don't need this. So the thing is that there is such a thing as a proper visa. The proper visa is the visa that you need for what you want to do while you're in Thailand. If you need a medical tourist visa, you can get one. And that is so that you can get medical care in Thailand. If you need an ED visa, that's for you to learn a particular subject, whether it's Muay Thai or Thai or whatever it is. Right? You need a particular visa for what you're going to do. If you're going to get a tourist visa and you're going to stay for 2 months and then another month, Okay, well, you got 3 months. You don't have 6 months. You don't have a year. You got 3 months. Why would you think you can go ahead and live here? Now, what I will say is that the one thing that I heard the guy say was, I told the immigration officer, let me show you the lease to my condo. He's like, I have a place to stay, I have money, I have everything you require. And the guy said, no, I don't believe you. And he goes, well, let me show you my lease. Now, wait a minute. You're on a tourist visa, and yet you have a lease for a year. That says that you're living in the country. It's not like he leaves and comes back after 2 weeks, and he comes back and then he leaves after a week. He's not like, 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off. So these are the kind of things that YouTubers and other people, it's not just YouTubers, but YouTubers, they put it out there, and that's the thing, they're putting it out there in public. This immigration officer, he must have been having a terrible day. He was such an asshole. I don't understand them. Don't they want tourists? Well, you're not a tourist. You're somebody trying to live here. What don't you understand? You're the asshole. It's not him. He's not the asshole. He's doing his job. So you're the asshole for thinking you can live in the country and you don't have to have a visa. And you can say you're going to go to the Philippines then. Go ahead. In the Philippines, what is it? I think every 90 days you have to leave the country. You have to go out of the country or something like that, even though you get 3 years. To me, it's stupid. Instead of saying, gosh, this guy's such a jerk. I don't understand. Why are you fighting it? You can't beat the system. Larry, thank you. You cannot beat the system. There you go, Larry. Thank you very much. And let's give Larry a big like. For your and your wife's next wellness appointment. Well, I will have that video up shortly. I think by the weekend, I'll have it up. And it will show the Vietnamese. It's not called the water torture. It's a Vietnamese head massage. And there's some nice people. My wife knows her friend works with her, and that friend has a husband who opened the place up with a couple other people, and so that's why we went there. We also went there to relax. And I was like, I don't really like body massages, and I don't like people touching me. And they started giving me the head massage and neck massage, and the next thing I know, I was like, all right, this is pretty good. I guess I'll take this. Give Larry a thumbs up. Thank you, and choke me, Larry. You're back. It's good to see you back here. Let's see here. Now, I guess I don't really want to linger too much about the YouTubers, but just because 20 to 30 years ago, you could live in Thailand without a proper visa, a 1-year visa, doesn't mean that you can do it now. Times change. And I know that in the past, and listen, I know of people in the past that were here for 20 years, just doing visa runs, border runs. That's what they did. And they were able to stay here. But that's not how it is now. Times have changed, baby. Bangkok is a different place. It's a little more modern than it used to be. They've tried to tighten up on things because a lot of people, some people take advantage of the system, and they know that. And some people do things in Thailand that they shouldn't be doing. So they're trying to stop that. If you don't have a long-term visa, you are a tourist. And most tourists stay, we'll say 2 to 4 weeks. They're not staying for months, for years. And that's why I always laugh. Thank you very much. Yeah, let's grow. Let's give him a thumbs up and a a little like there. Let's go, let's grow. Thank you. Today's the last day of the month, which is great. It's always nice to get money at the end of the month because, see, the money comes next month. So that means I get a last minute little kick, a little bit of money. In 10 years of living here on non-O visas, it is really not a problem to comply with what are actually pretty minimal visa requirements. I have no sympathy with those skating the systems and what. Neither do I. I really don't. I have not seen that, Jai-D. I've not seen anybody running out of their building in other underwear. I mean, I guess you could understand it if it's during a Bio Sky Hotel is leaning. Wow. And didn't I just say I would not go there? I would not go there. I would not go up to the top floor, the very top floor, and I have been there and streamed from there. Well, they're not that bad, Rick. You can do it online. You can do it through the mail. You can use an agent. You can do all kinds of things. There are ways around it. Bio Sky Hotel. This is from 2 days ago. I didn't even see this. Reportedly leaning after earthquake, yet management claims building remains stable. Okay, well, I guess I'll just believe you then. Sorry, I'll never go in that building again. Building is safe. Oh, yes. Now, here's something I like here. Thai tourism set to crumble after earthquake exposes weak building structures. Yeah, I like this. Dim Sum Daily from Hong Kong. Hong Kongers got it going on. They're pretty sharp. Oh, here we go. A lot of pop-ups. I don't like that, but all right. Oh, they're saying it's 7.9. I've heard it's 8.2 also, but yeah. All I got to say is, if you want to go up in the Bio Tower, have at it. Go ahead, do it. It's your life. I'm not going to do it. I don't want to do it. It's just not going to happen. Bangkok's Bio Sky Tower swayed by Myanmar quake. Building declared safe. Okay, if it's leaning, it's not safe. I'm sorry. No structural damage or cracks to the building's glass facade, the most vulnerable component. Does it say that it's leaning? Excellent condition. A comprehensive inspection has revealed no damage to the glass panels, which are the most susceptible to seismic activity. The only site that I see that it says it's swaying is Dim Sum Daily. And I'm not sure if that's true or not. Let me just see something. Let us see. Okay, so the Sky Tower experienced noticeable swaying, as did many high-rise structures in the city. The movement is a result of the building's design, which allows for controlled flexing during seismic events to prevent structural damage. Listen, my sister is an architect. She's very well known. She knows what she's doing. She's got some big jobs, so we'll just put it that way. I need to ask her, if it were you, and you saw that these buildings had been swaying and flexing and doing all these other things, would you actually go back inside the building? Because I don't want to go back in there. Now I see this and I go, I don't care if it doesn't say anything about leaning. No damage to its glass facade or other critical components. Therefore, despite the tremors, the Bangkok Sky Tower is not leaning and continues to be safe for occupancy. Now, I don't know why it is here. Let me see here. Okay. Man, they got so many damn commercials on this thing. I don't like this site now. I did like it when I first saw it. I thought, oh, this is pretty nice. But where does it say anything about the leaning? Let me see here. Let us see. No. It just says that the buildings are they're showing that the building structures are weak. But what it is there's a lot of old buildings in Bangkok. There's a lot of old buildings. And so because there's a lot of old buildings, oh, what is this? Big ups, Larry. Because there are a lot of buildings here, it's bound to happen that some of them are not up. They are old buildings. They're not up to the 2007 standards. And so there's bound to be a lot of structural damage. I don't care what anybody says. I just think there's going to be cracks and stuff. And I saw, who was it? Somebody sent me 5 photos the other day, like Saturday. They sent me 5 photos of a guy's condo, and it had cracks all through the condo. And I was like, that dude better get out of there, man. I mean, the cracks were like the length of the wall. Okay, what is this here? Wait a minute. Reportedly leaning. Okay, I have not seen anything about it leaning. They're saying it's structurally strong. Now, the only place that I saw it was on Dim Sum Daily, and quite frankly, I don't have the page open. Let me see here. Okay, Dim Sum Daily, Bangkok Sky Hotel in Bangkok reportedly leaning after earthquake, yet management claims building remains stable. So that's the only, okay, here it is right here. No significant damage. Reports from Thai media indicate that the Bangkok Sky Hotel, once the tallest building in Bangkok, showed signs of leaning with cracks appearing in its wall. However, the hotel management later reassured the public via social media that overall condition of the building remains stable and that it has not sustained any major damage. They clarified the perceived leaning is actually a result of the building's earthquake-resistant design, which allows it to flex and sway in a controlled manner during seismic activities to prevent collapse. I'm sorry. I'm not going to take a chance with my life in that place. I mean, I hate to say it. Why would I do that? Why would anybody do that? 90-day checks are a drag. Yeah, I understand, but you got to do them, and you just get used to them, and you just do it online, or whatever you got to do. I saw this lady was in her bathrobe and her slippers. I'm sure that was sexy. Those skyscrapers are going to be abandoned, possibly. Towers are designed. Where did I go? Towers are designed to flex in earthquakes instead of breaking. I understand that, but how often can they flex? How much can they flex? When does it weaken the structure? When does that happen? There's been 77 aftershocks, and only one was felt in Thailand, and that was in Mae Hong Son. They got to put the buildings on springs. Well, listen, I dare say we're going to get out of Bangkok at some point, because at some point it will get dangerous. I mean, I think that's going to happen. If it's sinking, and it's continually sinking, you know, if it sinks an inch a year, in 12 years it sinks a foot. That's a lot. You know, I might be dead by then. I don't know. You know, by the time anything happens, I might be ready to go. A swaying structure is much better than a rigid structure. Depends on what we're talking about. Will the Chinese tourist avoid Thailand? I think they're already avoiding Thailand for numerous reasons. Another fact, most of Bangkok has been built on reclaimed land. Land reclamation for Pearl Necklace, 9 islands in the Gulf. Most of the area was originally swamplands and was drained. Wow. Oh, God, I could read about this for days. Let me see here. I saw many YouTube expat videos of cracks, tiles broken, water on the floors. Fortunately, I live in a 2-story home and that didn't happen to me. 77 aftershocks, up to 7.1, but most of them were not felt in Thailand. Myanmar is just brutalized. No, I'm just telling you what the news is reporting, and that's it. Many places in San Francisco are built on landfill. Do you know how much is built on a landfill in Bangkok? I got no idea, man. How do I know? I can ask my computer. 70 approved landfills in operation today. Well, they're going to turn one into green space. I'm not going to look into this. It's going to take too long. Scott, what is the maximum number of floors you think one should consider living on? 2. That's it. 2. Listen, I fell from the 4th floor, and you know, I suffered a lot of damage. I mean, it took me a year before I could walk. After a year, I could walk for 30 minutes. I could walk, you know, after a couple of months, but I couldn't walk very far without getting really tired and just hurting. But after a year, I was able to walk. And that was enough. And that's from the 4th floor. You know, I could have died from that just by falling on my head. I fell like this. It was just like this. So I must have got my hands up in time, bam, and hit the... And then I bounced up and bounced down, and I bounced down so hard that my back was bruised. Or either that, or when I hit, it hit so hard it bruised my back. I don't know. 2 floors, man. Well, 3 floors is probably okay, but for me, 2 floors is good. Oh, God. You're saying 6 floors. Listen, I don't want to have to rely on anybody else. Really, you think about it. Now, in Thailand, they can be quite good at times. You know, Thai people can be very helpful and all this other kind of stuff. But the truth is, I don't want to rely on anybody else. I got my whole family in my house. Listen, we're on the 1st floor. We can bust out the windows. We can go out the back door. We can go out the front door. And then we're out of there. And if we had to be on the 2nd floor, we were trapped or something, we could go down on the roof. We could jump. We could do all kinds. We could just use a couple of, you know, shirts tied together or whatever it was. curtains. We could do whatever we needed to do. I think it's kind of, humorous that we're thinking now we're thinking about, how high should we be? Where should we really be? Now let me see something else here. Okay, let me see this real quick here. Why? I don't have to live on the 5th floor, the 10th floor. I don't have to live there. That's the thing. I can live wherever I want. And I don't want to live above 2 floors. 3 maybe. But that's it. If we had a 4th floor, I'd be like, my bedroom's on the 3rd floor. It's not going to be any higher than that. Now, I'm going to get back to this YouTuber thing. If Thai immigration keeps track of how many people come and go, and if they see you using your visa exemptions to stay long term, they can definitely deny entry and tell you to get a proper visa. It's that simple. Once you tell somebody, oh, well, I got my apartment lease, I got my condo lease, whatever it is, you're admitting that you live there. They don't have to let you in. They don't have to let you in, period. They don't have to let me in. The thing is I'm generally respectful. What reason would they give? Okay. They can come up with whatever they want if they want. And that's what some people don't understand. You can't fight them. It's better to get along with them. I hate to say this because, sometimes I can be combative. In my life, I have been combative at times. But maybe I've just grown smarter as I grew older, and I just realized sometimes it's easier to use a little grease than to ram it right in there, Now, Thailand does not owe you anything, and you do not have unlimited entries, and you are not allowed to come in as often as you want. If you want to live here, you got to follow the rules. It's that simple. And some of the entitlements that some of these people seem to think they have, it just shows me about this generation. This generation, and I mean in the last generation, there are people who are crying about this. I'm like, I don't care if you are 40 years old. If you don't have the proper visa, you can't live here. It's that simple. You can't go in the United States and expect to live there and be illegal. That's the thing now. That's what they're concentrating on. An illegal alien is somebody who's in the country illegal. They are criminals. They may not be the criminal, like they're not a violent criminal or something like that. They may not be that. I understand that. But they broke the law by coming into the country. Now, it's funny, but if you do that in Thailand, it's like, oh, why do they get down on us about this? We should be able, it's a tourist country. This is how we're allowed to be there because, don't they want tourists? They want the right kind of tourists. That's what they want. Crazy. There are options if you want to stay long-term. Retirement visas, marriage visas, work permits, business visas, education visas, Thailand elite, and if you don't qualify, then you gotta find somewhere else. Simple as that. Gotta have a roll ladder for these kind of emergencies. Yeah, I don't want a roll ladder. To get a visa, you need a big MasterCard. Well, you gotta have money. And, it used to be that you could come over here and you could pull a Leonardo DiCaprio, stay in some shithole of a guest house for $3 a night, and then make your way over to Koh Tao, or whatever the hell it was. Was it Koh Tao? I think it was Koh Tao. go to Maya Bay and live for free in a commune. You can't do that nowadays. It doesn't work. People don't want other people sleeping on the beaches in most cases. In some places you can do it, but not many people do it anymore. I hate to tell you. The world is a different place, and I mean, I understand it, you know. Sure you didn't. Sure. Well, I'll give you the cliff notes. The people in the commune and with Leonardo weren't paying much for anything, and they had to gather up their money to buy rice and everything else. Yes, he's gracing us with his presence. Thank you very much. Well, the Philippines, listen, I got nothing against the Philippines. And, you know, maybe one day the Philippines will catch up with Thailand and outdo it. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so because of the rampant poverty there. And quite frankly, people don't want to see it. Listen, if I want poverty, I go down to Klang Tui and I can see it. And I know where the extreme poverty is, and I know where there's just, it's kind of, you know, I mean, there's people in Klang Tui, they got motorcycles and they got TVs and satellites, and that's not poverty. I would hope that's what happens. However, now the cracks in the system, so to speak, are starting to show. And that is many, many condos, apartments, townhouses, even big townhouses. They're starting to show all the cracks. They're starting to show, oh, well, there was some damage from the earthquake. Oh, Myanmar is, forget about it. It's freaking horrible. If you look, there are so many buildings that are leaning or crushed. Cars are crushed beneath overpass. That's why I'm saying, you think you're safe. Anytime you're indoors, you might not be safe. Even outdoors, you might not be safe. Something can fall on you. You're driving along, I'm driving along. We always go under the overpass. We're right under the overpass. Now, if that overpass just collapses, I'm done. You know, 2 tons of concrete falling on you or whatever it is. That's it, I'm smushed. You're not even gonna find me. You're gonna find a splat mark. You know, and then I was thinking about it because I did see a video on the SkyTrain where people were riding on the SkyTrain. You did not want to be on the SkyTrain during the earthquake. And then I saw another video of one of the cars at the station, and it was violently going back and forth. Not just a little bit. To the point where you're going, oh my God, I'm glad I'm not in that thing. And in fact, I was thinking, you need to get down from that station. Go downstairs. Get out of the way, man. Move. But you know, it takes a couple seconds for everything to kick in, and you go, hey, this is not right. I mean, it did for me. I was like, something's not right here. Why am I dizzy? What's going on here? And then I was like, oh shit, the floor's shaking. And I look over, people sitting there with this puzzled look on their face. And then I thought, oh, it hit me, you know. Oh, this is an earthquake. Because you don't really think of this place as a haven for earthquakes. It's not where earthquakes occur all the time. I think it was 6.4. They're saying it's 7.7. They're saying it's 8.2 up by Mandalay. But I think it was something like 6.4. I didn't think it was 4.4. I thought it was 6.4. But I don't know. I may be wrong. Let me see something here. Let's see here. Reports indicate that the shaking in Bangkok reached a magnitude of up to 7.1. This intense shaking led to the suspension of urban rail systems, massive traffic conditions. Cars stopped on the freeway. The intense shaking led to the suspension. Okay, I read that. And the tragic collapse of 33-story skyscraper, which they are still looking into now for people. There's still like 100 people missing. Wow, so Bangkok is influenced by the city's geological conditions, the soft clay, which can amplify seismic waves, making it more susceptible to distant earthquakes. Crazy. Wow. Yeah, that would have been from 2007 forward. And that would be, let me see here. Oh. Modern high-rise buildings are typically designed to withstand earthquakes up to 6.0 to 7.0 magnitude without significant structural damage. Some of the newest skyscrapers may be able to handle up to 7.5, depending on engineering standards and materials used. Okay, so anything over 15 meters high is supposed to have seismic resistance, where and in tall buildings they're supposed to sway, not break, which we've talked about. Skyscrapers like the Bayok Sky Tower and Mahanakon are anchored into deep foundations to resist seismic shakes. Many older buildings, like the one my wife was in, do not meet modern seismic codes, making them vulnerable. While Bangkok itself is not on a major fault line, earthquakes from Myanmar, Laos, and Chiang Rai can cause strong tremors due to the city's soft clay soil, which amplifies shaking. So there you go. How long did it shake? You know, I thought it was only for about 30 seconds, but it could have been a little bit longer. I wasn't sitting there going 1, 2, 3. I was like, what's going on here? I was like, shit, I'm shaking. It took me 15 seconds just to realize, oh, I think this is an earthquake. Oh, you mean in Trinidad, Larry? Well, I say I was lucky. Not really safe, but lucky. Particularly saturated soil potentially loses strength in response to wide stress such as shaking during an earthquake. I heard the government 30 plus 4 billion. Yeah, it was Chinese build. You know, who knows about that? That's the thing. I'd like to find out all the facts. And because as much as I dislike the Chinese government, I'm still I believe that it's not just, well, it was Chinese build and that's why it collapsed. I think it's that it was under construction, and when it's under construction, you never know what they're doing. And, they may have it may be at a stage where if you have an earthquake, it's not going to be very strong. Maybe they were in the process of making it stronger. I don't know. And that's the things I'd like to know. What you hear from the Thai media is not always true. Now, I'm going to say this again. My wife showed me this clip of a lady. She's come up with all kinds of, I don't know how she did it, but I think it was September or November or something of last year. She said, in March, there's going to be an earthquake, and it's going to be a big one. And she said many people are going to die. I was like, holy shit. Now, maybe she was guessing. but she's also come up with other things. She's known in Thailand as the lady who predicts things. I can't remember her name. I have it on my phone, and I'll put it out there, but it makes me wonder. I'm not someone who buys into that stuff, but every once in a while I go, they're awfully lucky quite often. I mean, you know, you got the people who predict the presidency and stuff like that, and sometimes they're wrong. So that doesn't necessarily ring true with me. But when I hear this kind of stuff, I go, maybe, who knows? I'll listen to her the next time. Well, you know, why were the Chinese sneaking out documents, and what kind of documents were there? You know, I don't know about that. Seven-day deadline for probe into Chinese-built high-rise collapse. Oh, here we go. BMA acts against 4 Chinese for removing documents from SAO building. 32 files of documents from the rear of the collapsed State Audit Office building without permission. So they tracked down the suspects and arrested them. Oh, one of the Chinese men near they located one of the Chinese men near the incident site. He claimed to be the project manager for a building construction project. After questioning and reviewing his personal documents, it was confirmed that he had a valid work permit and that his group was employed by a joint venture with Italian Thai Development Public Company Limited, the contractor for the building under construction. After locating all 4 suspects and reviewing the 32 documents, which included various forms of paperwork, the police confiscated the documents for further investigation. They said that they entered the area to retrieve the documents for an insurance claim, and that they were stored in a container being used as a temporary office by the company. The suspects were released. Now they're going to proceed with legal action against these 4 individuals. Crazy. Oh my God, man. I can only imagine this. This has got to be such a nightmare for the Thai police, for the Chinese, for the people in the area. It's just got to be a nightmare, man. Well, I was thinking blueprints also, but that's not what it was. Yeah, it could be something or it could be nothing. Listen, just because they're Chinese, I hate to say this, because, you know, I don't particularly like the Chinese government, but I have to be, you know, forthcoming that I don't think it's just because they were Chinese that the building fell to shit. Now, maybe that's true. I mean, a lot of buildings in China, they build them and then they don't ever put any people in them, and then the cities are ghost towns. You know, that stuff happens. And then when you look at the stuff, nobody bought it because they know that what they built was, you know, was crap. If it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, you got it, Sammy. It might be, you know, it just might be a duck. So, you know, you got to take that into consideration. All right, so let's see here. Well, we're done with the visa exemption thing here. We already know about this. Oh, I will say this. If you've been doing border runs for months or years, expect to be stopped. Immigration policies are meant to control who stays in the country and why. If you want to stay in Thailand, do it the legal way. If you don't like the rules, don't come. That's not coming from me. That's coming from Thai immigration. The earthquake damage is very real, and the people in Bangkok and beyond need to be aware of the dangers. If you live in a high-rise, such as Jono, or you work in an older building such as my wife, you better pay attention to cracks and report them. Let me tell you something. If my wife goes to work at that building, an earthquake crushes her, and she dies, I'm going to be pissed. You know, I don't know how I get over that, because that is not the way that she or I want to go. You know, so there's a lot of things that I can think about here when it comes to safety that I could really get into, and I don't even want to think about them sometimes. Most of the damage is concentrated in Bangkok, and most other cities have little to no damage. Maybe Pattaya, maybe Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, but just be vigilant. Well, let's see here, having a little problem. Coffee's all done. Let me tell you something. And Mr. Billy is in the stream now, so he can hear this. After I don't know how many years, like 8 years, I'm still using the Roke manual espresso maker that I have. They don't pay me for this. I'm not doing a commercial or anything. I still have that manual espresso maker. Now I've upgraded it and put some parts in it. It was like $40. And here at Pacamara, they serve something, it's just called an espresso on the rocks. It's really on the rock, because it's one ice ball, and then they put the espresso in there, and it's a cold espresso drink. Instead of drinking a hot espresso, you're drinking a cold espresso. You don't have to put sugar in it. You don't have to put anything in it. Well, I've been doing that from home lately. And I can tell you that it's quite good. And that Roke espresso maker is still making excellent espresso. And, you know, I can't complain about it. It's making me really good espresso. And I drink an iced espresso probably, I'd say every other day I have one. Ooh, an affogato sounds good. I might have to try that. Might have to buy some vanilla ice cream today. So easy to get into Thailand for tourism, point being tourism. Yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, why get angry about it? Why? I mean, you know, Billy, you remember Bernard and how vehement he was about he did not want a retirement visa. Well, then why don't you get a marriage visa? Oh, I'm not married. Well, then why don't you get an elite visa? Oh, I don't want one of those. There's always an excuse. You know, it's ridiculous. Listen, if you want to be a tourist, be a tourist. If you want to live in the country, living in the country is different than being a tourist. You want to come here and live here for 9 months? Well, then you're living here. You may not be able to come in as a tourist and say, well, I'm just going to stay there for 9 months, and maybe I'll stay there even longer. That's what I did. But that was a different time. That was in the beginning. You know. Oh, it's already affected the number of tourists. All right, let me see here. Okay. There has been immediate and significant impact on Thailand's tourism sector, particularly in Bangkok. In Bangkok, the quake has resulted in 17 deaths, up to now supposedly around that many, due to the building collapse near Chatuchak Market, and 78 individuals remain missing, and several buildings have sustained damage. The earthquake led to a temporary suspension of operations at Suwon Airport, causing flight delays, and cancellations. The BTS was halted for safety inspections, leading to massive traffic congestions and stranding many travelers. Several high-rise buildings, hotels, and tourist attractions were evacuated and temporarily closed to assess structural integrity. Notably, the Intercontinental Bangkok Sukhumvit experienced water overflow from its rooftop pool, leading to temporary closures of communal spaces. The Thai Prime Minister has declared Bangkok an emergency zone, advising caution due to potential aftershocks. This declaration may deter tourists concerned about safety, especially regarding high-rise accommodations and attractions. And you see, I agree with you, Billy. I wouldn't fly here either. Maybe they will keep the 60-day then. Why does that matter? Does it matter to you, Rick? I'm just wondering. Why does it matter to people? You can stay for 60 days, but guess what? If they turn it back to 30 days, you can still stay for 60 days. You just can't stay for 90 days. So if you're going to be here for 90 days, then I would think they would allow you a double entry. Dude, come on. You know, what are you talking about? Really? What are you talking about? 50 bucks, 55 bucks, something like that? It's not all that much. 50 bucks for the whole trip. And you think about how much you spend on the trip. 50 bucks is not that much more. I don't care if they're going to charge you an extra 300 baht, if they're going to charge you for this, charge you for that. If you got to put in for the, what is it called, the TM6, 3 days before you come, it doesn't matter. It's only 50 bucks. Of course it's 50 bucks. 50 bucks is 50 bucks. But, you know, at some point, you just go, listen, I'll just pay it. It's a lot easier. It's a lot easier. I mean, why do you worry about it? You know, I wouldn't worry about it. That's all I'm saying. Why worry about it? For 50 bucks? It would be nice if they kept it at 60 days for the people who wanted to stay for 90 days. But what do you really need to stay for 90 days for? I mean, my mother used to go on with tour groups all the time. And she didn't stay more than 10 to 14 days. Even when she came to Bangkok, she didn't stay more than about 2 weeks. That was it. Never stayed for, 3 months or 6 months. Oh, I'm going to stay with you and hang out in Thailand and get to see Thailand. Most people don't think that way. They don't want to do it. And the Chinese don't want to do that. Maybe the Indians do. I don't know. Anyway. I'm just going to say this, Rick, and don't take this the wrong way. Thailand and its government doesn't give a shit what you want. They care about what they want for their country. And that's all it is. If you just remember that, they don't care what I want. Listen, they don't care what I want. They don't care about me. I've been here for a long time. They don't care. What they do care about is, oh, you have a Thai wife. Once I say that, then they go, oh, well, it's a little bit different. They kind of tweak how they think, but that not much. And I got kids, right? They think about that. But the bottom line is they don't care. And that's why I was such a hard ass with the guy before, and that's why I'm being a dick about it now. I mean, I'm not really being a dick, but some people might think that. The bottom line is, if you want to live here, if you want to, I'm going to rent a condo, right? I'm going to rent a condo for a year. Most condos, most places, they're not giving you a 3-month lease. Maybe you'll find a 6-month lease. Maybe you can get an Airbnb. But most, they want 1 year. So how are you going to stay for a year? How are you going to get a 1-year lease if you're a tourist? No, I didn't really know what was gonna happen. When you're young and dumb, and you don't really know. I didn't know I was gonna have to. I kind of thought I'd have a girlfriend or a wife or something, because, I went through girls and I was like, not this one, not that one, not this one. So I just wanted one that was stable, that was like cool, that you could laugh with a little bit, And then, when it comes down to it, it's like, sometimes you have kids, For some reason, you're both like, oh, okay, let's have one. I don't know why. I don't know what hit me. But I'm glad I did now. It is what it is. Oh, I mean, Jono is constantly complaining about the Airbnbers. And I understand that. I don't want somebody that's going to stay in for 3 weeks living where I live. Because you don't live here. You're just some guy who doesn't give a shit. All you want is a place to hang your hat, and maybe it's nice and it's comfortable. That's all you care about. You don't care about the people living there. You don't care about, I mean, it's just, to me, I understand the Airbnb rules, and I can empathize with the Thais. Because you get people, listen, like in Jono's place, like in Billy's old place, they come in there and some of them are just pathetic, man. You get a guy and his girlfriend and maybe their buddy, they're all sharing a place, and they come down and they don't care about Thailand. They just want to do what they want to do. And that's the thing. I understand most Thais, do they really genuinely care about the tourists coming here? No. They want them to be happy, and they want them to have a good time and enjoy their country. But that's about it. And so when people come here, I personally don't expect them to, know everything about Thailand or learn everything about Thailand. But I do expect somebody to respect the country. That's the thing. I've always tried to do that when I went to a place. Always tried to respect the people and just be friendly, and it goes without saying. Anyway, it's about time that I bid you all adieu. Remember to smash the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you will stay informed of all the upcoming videos and streams that I have. If you'd like to show your support, you can join the VIP section of the channel for as little as $1.99. You can hit the Patreon, CASHAPP. You can do all that stuff. Everything's down in the description. And if you want to send me a Dear Scott letter, or you need a consultation, email me at americaninbangkok@gmail.com. And that is all I have. That's it. Until next time, I am Scott. I'm an American in Bangkok. Chok di leo jerken mai, which means bad luck. No, it means good luck. Good luck, and see you again. I got a bunch of errands to run today, so I'm going to get out of here. So take care, everybody. Watch out for those earthquakes, and I will talk to you later. Ciao.